This super crash course on how to configure the catalog item wizard in ServiceNow. By the end of this video, you'll be an expert at configuring the catalog builder. And to make this practical, we'll use examples from a hospital setting. So what's a service catalog? Well, in an organization, people often make requests for items like hardware, software, services, or any other thing. These are called catalog items. A service catalog is a container that organizes and presents these requests with a user-friendly interface and ensures that the requests are received and routed to the right people and fulfilled in an organized and recorded manner. What is a service catalog wizard? First of all, catalog items are set up in something called the catalog builder. And now a service catalog wizard is where catalog administrators and editors go to configure custom details that specify how users can request for those items. Note that as a catalog administrator, you may need to add steps, sections, or questions to a catalog item wizard itself to allow editors to capture custom details when creating catalog items using the catalog builder. First, we begin by navigating to the application navigator or the all menu, and we'll search for service catalog wizard in the filter. Then we select maintain wizard. Here you see a list of all available wizards, and you can select the one you want to modify. Either you are modifying the create catalog item wizard or the create record producer wizard. But for this video, we're modifying the create catalog item wizard. Now clicking on this opens the catalog builder wizard where you can add your steps, sections, and question. Think of this wizard as the blueprint for how your catalog item will guide users. So first, let's add a question, which is also known as a variable. On the catalog wizard form, select the open associated producer under the related links. This is where you can find all the data configuration for the catalog builder. Now from the variables related list at the bottom, we'll select new. Now let's go ahead and fill this form. Here we'll use a reference type variable. Now if you want this value to populate a field on the catalog item table, then you select map to field. When I select map to field, this field appears on the form, and here you can select the field you want to map this variable to, but we're not doing that, so I'll uncheck this and just select the type, variable type. Now here we have a list of all the types that you can select, but for this we're selecting reference. Since we're configuring the catalog item builder, it has already auto-populated here, so we don't need to change this. Then we'll type in our question. So using the hospital example, the variable could reference a doctor directory, and the question text might be, let's say, select the attending physician for this patient. Now this auto-populates. You can change this or leave this as it is, but I'm going to leave this as it is. And next, we'll click on the annotation tab. Now, filling the annotation tab explains the purpose of this variable. For example, this field ensures the correct physician is assigned for patient intake. So you can use the annotation to explain or give more details of what the variable or what information the variable is asking for. So we'll leave this as it is and go to type specifications. So here we have to map, since we're using type reference for this variable, what are we referencing? We're referencing the user table. So the reference points to the user table where the user or the editor can select the doctor. So let's type user and you're looking for sys_user table. Select that. And here you can set the qualifier attributes, but we'll leave this as it is. You can also select the reference qualifier condition. We're not doing any of that, but so we'll leave this as it is. Here you can also set a default value. You can also set a dependent question. And here you can also set permission. Who will read roles, write roles, and create roles. So we'll leave this as it is. Now also note, you can make this variable mandatory, read only, or hidden. But we're not doing any of that. We'll leave it as it is. So let's save. We have saved this variable. Next, let's create the step. Click on the back arrow. From the Create Catalog Item Wizard Steps Related list, let's select New. This is where we add a new step to the catalog builder. Let's fill in the fields. So for example, we'll give this step a clear name, like let's give it patient intake information. We can also select this checkbox to hide this step on the template, because any variable section or step will add in this catalog item wizard appears on the template. So we can select this, we can check this to hide it, but we'll leave this as it is. You can also check this to, if you need a fully customized step. But we are creating a standard step, so we'll leave this option unchecked. We can also use the other field to decide where we want the step to appear in the catalog builder. And since I want this step to appear after the details step, I'll give this an order value of 150. Next, you can add a short description. Let me add the collect patient demographics before proceeding to medical history. You can also add feedback instructions to help guide catalog editors during the process. Now, when you click on the reference field, you can click on this to add or create a feedback instruction, but we'll leave this as it is. You can also check the hide footer or the hide on review, but we'll leave this as it is and save. So right click on the header and select save. Now that we've created a step, let's create the section. So at the related list, we see catalog wizard section. Let's select new. Now let's add a section. Note that one section is required in order to display questions within a step. So let's call this section patient intake details. For the style, you can either choose card or the flat option. The card option displays the section as a white box on a gray background, while the flat option displays it without a box. For this demo, we'll choose the card option. And since we have only one section, we'll leave the order as it is. You also have the option to add a short description, which will appear under the section name, but we'll leave this as it is. Now for the width, you can choose between 50% or 100%. 50% width is useful when placing sections side by side, but for this example, since we have just one, would use 100% since we have just one section. And we'll save. Right click the header and select save. Now let's add the question to the section. Under the related list, we'll select new. For a question to appear within the catalog builder interface, we have to link the question to the section we want it to appear on. So let's link the question we created earlier to the section we just created. So the section is patient intake details. Now let's link the question. So under this question field, let's select the magnifying glass to look for the question we created earlier, and this is it. Select the attending physician for this patient. Let's select that. And we'll leave the order as it is. Now map to set. When you select map to set is used to map the section to a variable set. If you have your variable set created for a particular section, you can select map to set to map the variable set to that section. But since we are not using a variable set, or uncheck this, and just click on the magnifying glass to map this section to the question we created earlier, which was select the attending physician for this patient. So select this. And right click on the header and save. Then select update. Click on update. So now we've created a question, step, and the section, and we've also mapped the question to the section. Now let's see how the newly created question, step, and section looks in the catalog builder. So let's go to our all menu and select type catalog builder. Select this. Remember, this configuration we just made will appear when creating a catalog item and when creating a catalog item template. Now to configure your record producer wizard, just follow the same process we used to add a step, a question, and a section to the create catalog item wizard. Follow the same process to configure your record producer wizard. So this is a catalog builder. This is where you can create catalog items or templates, or use your already created catalog item templates, or you can also create a new template. So here I'm selecting build from scratch and selecting standard. We modified the standard new catalog item. We worked on the standard one and not the record producer. Now this is our catalog builder. Remember, we added this section to, we wanted this section to, this step to appear after details step, and this is it, patient intake information. And if we select this, this is the section, patient intake information, collect patient demographics before proceeding to medical history. And here you can search for the physician for this patient. Remember, we referenced the user table, and this brings out all the user in the user table that we can select from. Now this is when you want to, this is when you're building a new catalog item. We've added this question, the step, and the section to the catalog builder. Now if you want to, let's select the home button to go back to the home page. If you want to create a catalog item, create a new catalog item, let's select this. Let's search for the standard item in service catalog. Then use this template. You can see the section, patient intake information, patient intake details appearing on this template. So because we created this in the service catalog wizard, it also appears on any template you are using in the catalog builder. So this is it under this template, and if you want to use it, you select use this item template and you fill in the details to create your catalog item. And that's it. You have successfully configured the catalog item wizard by adding a step, a section, and a reference type question. In our example, remember we created a doctor directory reference for a hospital, and by pacing your wizard with clear steps, structured sections, and meaningful questions, you make catalog items more intuitive, audit ready, and aligned with real world workflows. Thanks for following along. For more information, you can refer to the official documentation, knowledge base, or the ServiceNow community. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out more ServiceNow tutorials.